Subway Surfer, Temple Run and Sonic Dash. If you ever played any of these, you know the drill. Dodge, switching lanes and survive. In this new series, we're building our own endless runner from scratch in Unreal Engine 5, step by step, all the way to a finished, polished game. In this video, project setup and getting our character running across 3 lanes. Let's get into it. Now we can finally create our project. We are now in the Unreal Engine 5.7, but this tutorial works fine also for the other 5-point versions, okay? So now, let's create a new project. Go here, new project. And in this one, I want to choose third person. For the quality preset, I choose scalable, variant none, and project name, let's maybe call it Endless Runner, okay? Great. And after some time, we are now in the editor. As you can see, this is the viewport, okay, where we can see our level. This is the outliner, where we can see the objects in our level. And if you use W, A, S, and D, you can simply move, okay, in this space. You can also use the middle wheel of your mouse to change the speed. In this way, okay, I can move with a lot more speed, otherwise not so much. We can now want to create a new level, so go in File, New Level, and in this one choose Basic. Okay, so we start from scratch. Let's save also this level, so File, Save Current Level As, and here we can create a new folder called Levels, click Open it, and simply we can call the new map start level, okay? In content drawer, okay, you have all the projects, all the files in your Unreal Engine 5 project, okay? So this is like the library, and in this way you can organize a little bit your textures, meshes, blueprints, all the things you have, okay, in this project. Now, let's create maybe some folders, okay? In this way we can organize a little bit our project. So the first maybe can be the UI, another one can be the blueprints, very useful one, and another one I want to create the animation, and the last one, yeah, the last one, inputs, okay? I have created the inputs, okay, because now we want to create our first inputs, okay, of our project. So go in inputs, and now we want to create an input mapping context. What is an input mapping context? Oh, sorry, this one, okay, that I call maybe IMC main. What is this? Basically, an input mapping context is a place where you put your inputs, actions, okay, so maybe move, jump, something like that, and you simply combine a key to an action. So in this way, when you press a key, you can also do something with your action. You can also set up your triggers, some modifiers. So it's a very important place, okay, to put your input action. Now we want to create also our input actions. So new folder, I want to call it input actions. And in this one, I want to create 2 different input actions. The first one is called IA underscore move left. Now we can simply Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to duplicate, and I want to call it move right, okay? In this way we can switch between lanes, okay? Now if we go back in our input mapping context in main, let's move it here. As you can see in default key mappings there is a plus mappings. Now we can add our mappings, okay? So the first one can be move left and the other one move right, okay? So the first key for our move left is A, and we can create another one that is basically our left arrows, okay? For this one I want to choose for the triggers, okay, pressed. So you basically trigger our action when you press the button, okay? And the same also for our here trigger for our left arrow, okay? So pressed, and we can now close move left. Now in move right we want to choose D, and the other one, okay, the right arrow. The same thing also for our trigger and also for our right, okay? So let's save, and we have it. Now in project settings, in our input, enhanced input, sorry, here, we can now choose for our default mapping context, we can now add our input main. So go here, IMC main, a priority of 2, okay, or 1. Otherwise, you use the default mapping context, and we don't want that, okay, because of course this is a template. We use the third person template. So we have already an input mapping context that is different, okay, from an endless runner. Is a basically third person action shooter, maybe, or RPG, something like that. So now we have set our inputs. Now we can go in our most important blueprint. So basically our character, third person blueprints, our third person character. Here, okay, we can change a little things. So the first thing to change is to go in viewport, and as you can see, there is here our camera, but it's too close, okay? We want to change a little bit the distance, okay? And also the rotation. So to change the distance, we use the camera boom, okay? And we change simply the arm length. As you can see, we simply change the distance. It's the same thing. So we choose like maybe 600, okay, something like that. For the rotation, go in follow camera, not in our camera boom, and change the epsilon a little bit, and also maybe the rotation. So you can or click here, okay, or the E key. Otherwise, you can choose also the rotation here, okay? I want to choose maybe -20 as rotation. Let's go in start level and we can test it. So as you can see, yeah, okay, can go well. Let's go back in third person character, and in our event graph, we want to delete our moving input, okay, this one. So let's compile. We can now retest it. So now, as you can see, if I choose A or D, nothing happens, okay? We do the same thing for our look. In reality, the best thing to do is to delete all this part, okay? The jump input can go well, because in reality, in an endless runner, we jump, of course. And so now we can call finally our input action. So now move left, and the same thing for our move right, okay? This part is a little bit more difficult, so please follow me, okay, in every step. The first thing to do is to create a variable here, okay? It's called lanes, and it's an array, okay? So right click of the mouse here, and it's like this, an array of float, okay? So what does it mean? An array is a group of variables, and each variable has this type, so as a float value, okay? And we use this to create 3 different values for our lanes. So let's save. Now we can set up 3 different values. The first one is -200. The second one is 0, is in the middle, and the last one is 200, okay? We use only the x-axis in this case. Now we want to create a new variable. This variable is not a float, is an integer, okay? And I want to call it current lane. So in this way, with a default value of 1, we choose basically the index of our lanes. So a default value of 1 means that we choose the index 1 by default, okay? So 0 is the middle lane. Now, get our current lane here. We want to subtract 1 to our current lane when we move to the left, okay? And of course we must check if that value is greater or equal to 0, otherwise we cannot do it. So let's check with a greater or equal to 0, okay? And this is the condition. Now we want to set the current lane to this value, okay? Now we want to add the timeline. Okay, I want to call it move left, and I want to choose play from the start. If you double click on this timeline, as you can see, we can now add a new track, add the float track, and I want to call it value, okay? Now, the length of this track is basically the amount of seconds, okay, this animation requires. So I want to choose maybe 0.15 seconds. We can now choose this one, okay, and this one to have a more clear vision of this area. Now we want to right click here to create a key. So for time 0, I want to choose value 0. Another one, another key, time 0.15, value 1, okay? When this animation starts, the value, okay, this one, the output is equal to 0. When this animation ends, the value is equal to 1. But in all the frames between these two values, we have all the values in this area. So we have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on, okay? It's a great way to create a smoother animation. Now, if you go back in our event graph, in the update, we want to set actor location. So we set the location of basically our character, okay? For the location here, we want to split struct spin, okay? Because we want to change only the x, not the epsilon or the zeta. Here, we want to use a new variable. It's called current location, and this one is a vector, okay? So set it here, play from the start, and we use get actor location, this one, okay? We take our current location, so we can do something like that, break, okay? So now we have x, epsilon, and zeta, and the epsilon and the zeta go here directly, but the x no. Why this? Because we use a lerp float, okay, to lerp the values. So we use the value output of the timeline as alpha, the initial value, okay, the x, and the final value is our initial value but minus 200, okay? So basically, if the alpha is 0, okay, we use the A, if the alpha is 1, we use B. But of course we can use in this way also all the values between these, okay, these points, the start points and the other one. The last thing to do is to have a variable, another one, that is a boolean. So I want to call it is finished. It is a boolean. I want to set it here to true because this animation is finished. And we now want to check here with a new if branch, okay, if is finished is true. So if we have already finished our animation, we can continue to switch between lanes. So is finished, get it, and simply combine it here, okay? For the default value of our is finished, I want to choose true. So for the first switch, go well. But before, okay, we set the current lane, maybe we can move it a little bit. Something like that, okay. We can now set is finished to false, okay. So it's true because we can now switch. We switch is false, and when the timeline is finished, now it's true. So we can now restart to switch between lanes, okay. Now we can do a simple thing. So we take this, okay, piece of code and we Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So we duplicate it here, okay? So trigger go here, but for the current lane, not subtract, I want to add 1 because it's the opposite thing, okay? So combine it here and also here, but not greater, less or equal to 2, okay? It's simply the opposite thing. So in the condition, put it here. Get actor location is set current location. The timeline, we use the same timeline, okay, and it's not a problem. Is finished is true when it's finished, and not subtract here, but we want to add, okay. So add 200 and put it here. Compile, save. Now we have created our mechanic. So let's try, okay. Start level, press play, and okay, there is of course a problem because we use an axis, okay. So we want to simply rotate this character and rotate of course by 180, okay, so something like that. Let's now start, and as you can see we now switch between lanes, okay, these three ones. We can create maybe a cube, okay, to have a more clear vision about this this mechanic. So here we can now set to 0 and simply move it here, okay. As you can see we now can switch, okay, between the lanes, and as you can see this is the middle one and the left one, the right one, okay. It's very easy. But of course in this way our character is not moving, so we now want to set our character moving. Now let's go in content drawer, and in our content, our animation folder, let's create a new animation blueprint, this one, okay. Select our skeleton, so SK mannequin, create one, and simply call it ABP_running, okay. Control S to save, and now we can open it. Okay, so the first thing you see is our output pose, okay? This is basically our result. So we now want an animation, and for this reason I have chosen our BP third person template, because now we can search for our forward, okay, and here you can see all our animations. We take our play MF unarmed jog forward, okay, this one. If you combine this node here in the result and press compile, as you can see our character is running, and it's fantastic. Okay, so now this ABP running go well, but if you go in third person character, of course is set the idle, okay, animation blueprint. So now we want to change it in animation class and search for ABP running, compile, start level, and as you can see our character is running. Of course not so much, no, it's not a real running. So go in third person character, in our event graph, maybe we can organize a little bit, call the event tick, and with this event tick we now want to call the move function every frame, okay. So the target is self, of course, and we choose simply 1 for the epsilon, okay. So let's compile, let's start, and as you can see we are now running, okay. Fantastic. And that's it for episode 1. We have created our character running and switching lanes. That's honestly the foundation of our entire series. So if you have some problems, drop a comment below and I'll try my best to help you. If you found this useful, please drop a like and subscribe if you don't want to miss any other videos, okay? See you in the next one. Bye bye guys.